my mind still reeling from the truth of my situation, that I'm being spied on. Without a second thought, I left the Blue Boar and ran to the inn to collect my things. I couldn't be sure. I thought someone might try to take my possessions. I took what I thought necessary, filling my pack nearly to the brim. It was backbreaking, but manageable. Certain that I wasn't coming back here to this inn at least, I stopped, looking to Zevin, the kind old man that had sheltered me when I first came to here, just behind the inn. I gave him a knowing look, and he just smiled at me. I gave him my last lump of coins, the rent for the past month or so. And thanked him. He just smirked and waved it off, saying he had no idea what I was talking about. Again, I went to the large castle on the western side of town, begging the guards to let me through so that I could talk to the guard captain. I needed to report this. It can't be normal for someone to be spied on in such a manner. Again, I was rebuffed. Thinking myself to be cautious, I snuck across town to the other large castle. Supposedly, a Lord Blackthorn lives here, the man that wrote the book I found in the library. He seemed more open-minded, and I thought to make my case to him instead. When asked the guards if I could enter, they said I could, but that I should mind myself. I had no intention of stealing or robbing the place. I just wanted to make my case to the lord that lived in the castle. It was a grand place. A statue of what I can assume to be him or perhaps one of his relatives. A fountain on the outside, and a grand hall. I suppose him and his knights ate there. The rest of the downstairs was lined with quarters for his troops, his knights. Upstairs, I opened the double doors to find myself greeted by a very large and expansive library. It was awe-inspiring how many books lined these shelves. Multiple tables were at the far end. Apparently, the Lord himself is not the only man to read these. And I began to wonder if they were open to the public at large, if anyone could come here to read if they so desired. I remarked to myself, the man that lived here must be exceptionally well read. There was a table on the other side of the library where many could meet and gather. Perhaps discussions about books were had there, though I had no idea. On the top level, just outside the stairwell, I found a game room. Training dummies for combat. Perhaps he enjoyed tournaments. And a table on the eastern side of the room, with chess, checkers, backgammon, chance dice, and playing cards. Not knowing what else to do, and with the Lord seemingly absent from the rest of the castle, I had to assume he was in his bedroom, his quarters. But I wasn't yet quite at my last nerve to knock on the bedroom door proper. If the man was there, I would give him his privacy. For now, though my situation did seem somewhat dire. I spent some time, perhaps an hour or two, training on the dummy. As the sun slowly set towards the western sky, after building up a sweat, I decided to sit down and deal myself out some cards. A local game. Solitaire. It seemed rather fun. It was a single-player game. You could play with others, but by yourself was just fine. More like struggling against fate itself. The fate dealt out to you by the cards. But after a few games, I grew tired of this as well. It had been hours. With little recourse, I looked over by the bedroom door, thinking perhaps he simply was consumed by some diversion. So I knocked on the doors before opening them. I said hello, but the room was empty. Nothing but my own voice to answer my query. I looked around. It was a nice room. A bit disorganized. Lived in. I figured perhaps they were on a quest, though he had left his weapon and shield behind. A fan of the fencing arts. Exploring the rest of the castle, I found a balcony just outside of the room that overlooked the lake, the mountains, and the woods outside of the city Britain. 2 chairs, of course. It was a beautiful view. I sat there for a moment to take it in. From here, I could see a mountain valley, the sun's last rays shining between the mountain ranges. I thought, if I'm to leave, that valley may be my best bet. If there is someone watching me, spying on me as I move, chances are they'll be keeping an eye on the roads. Feeling paranoid, I ran out of town. The gold I built up to hire a swordsman to watch my back now just weight in my pack. I couldn't trust anybody. Sneaking up to the mountain range, collecting herbs as I went, I found a giant blocking the mountain valley entrance, my only way forward. And this time I could not run. I had to gate past him. And we fought. His blows hammered my shield, my body. Pain exploded. Even Cog didn't hit this hard. But I had to remark at how slow the giant was. Perhaps I could have just ran past him. But so caught up in the moment, I didn't think of that. Using the tactics I learned, magic, my skills in combat, I eventually won, and watched as the beast lumbered away. He said something, his strength waning. I didn't even think about it. But the poison I had inflicted on him took the last of his strength. I didn't mean to kill him, but there he lay dead. Feeling somewhat remorseful, but practical, I realized his possessions had little meaning for him, and decided that I should look and see what I could make use of. I found some food, a bearskin cloak that I could fit for my head, and some coins. Can't imagine he would have much use for them now. As I made my way into the mountain valley, I found that it was swarming snakes with poison and many giants. I was mystified to find a forge and anvil, and wondered who would possibly be working metal here. As I dodged them, as I ran past them, it occurred to me that they might live here, and that the man that I had fought, the giant that I had fought, was likely a guard, guarding the entrance to their valley. My conscience wrestled with the fact that, at least in one people's eyes, I'm now a murderer. So consumed with guilt that one of them managed to sneak up on me as I spaced out with my thoughts in the forest. He chased me toward the road, and I followed it. I noticed over by Yonder, to the south of the road, it was gleaming, rather bright considering everything else. I found a desert. The sand sparkling in the moonlight. It was rather beautiful, if inhospitable. Continuing down the road, I found a very large guard complex, and there I spent the night, the guards giving me a bed to rest. In the morning, I consulted the road sign. The western road led to a town named the southern road back to Britain, which I had no interest in going to. Eastward laid 3 towns, Cove, Minot, and Vesper. With only 2 roads really open as an option, I didn't know what to do. So, I pulled out a gold coin and flipped it to decide my fate. With a thud, the coin landed into the dirt. Heads up. East was my road. Picking the coin back up, I began my march. I found east of the guard posting to be a large, mostly open grassland field. It was quite the nice change from the dense forests, where anything could lunge at you and attack without warning. And I enjoyed a nice lazy stroll in the sunlight, the morning sun feeling very nice. As I walked in a southeastern direction, I found a lake, a large lake, crystal clear, beautiful. Suddenly, without warning, a wolf lunged at me. It seems no matter where I go, enemies can find a way to sneak up on me. My own thoughts that blind me from my surroundings. Still confident from my fight with the giant, instead of running immediately, I decided to stand my ground and try and fight the wolf, employing much the same tactics, and dismayed when the wolf resisted every spell that I cast upon it. It simply came at me, lunging, fangs and claws, ripping at my armor, my flesh, and taking a chunk out of my wooden shield. I'll have to replace that, I thought to myself as I sat on a log after getting away. enjoying a modest lunch, bread, cheese, and ale, and noticed how cold the wind was getting, blowing straight out of the north. Eventually, after a moment's respite, I got up and began walking in a southwestern direction. And snow began to fall. It was very cold, but the snow was very beautiful, twinkling brightly in the morning sun. Eventually, I found a large fort, or what I thought was a large fort. Walking inside, I looked around. There were rats here. Thinking I could use a friend, I tried to tame it, even tempting it with a bit of cheese. But the rat could see right through me, and I began to wonder if the smell of dead rats were left on my clothing. The small fort town consisted of just a handful of buildings. The main object of interest was the harbor that it had over that clear, crystal blue water. Short conversation revealed that the town's name was Cove. A local named Lamar was a fisherman. I asked him if he had anything to teach me, but all he had was fishing. Thinking of my long stroll along the road, with nothing but cheese and bread in my pocket, I thought how well it would be if fish also had a place in my dietary. So, I bought a fishing pole. Perhaps it would take some practice, but sure enough, I would be able to catch a fish. Well, maybe. And if nothing else, it'll provide me with an excuse to sit down and relax for a moment. Walking into Cove's bank, a modest little building and the only stone structure I found in town so far, I decided to check the local board for job listings. After checking the job postings, I found that someone was looking for escort to a place called Moonglow, but I had no idea where that was. I decided to check the board later for more job listings. Next, I tried to go to the provisioner's shop to see what they had to offer. Much the same of what I expected. Foodstuffs, some books, traveling supplies, games. They had arrows for sale, but not a bow. I was still thinking I might try to take up archery, but it seems not today. I also found a blacksmith in Cove. I decided I could use a new shield. The wooden one that I had, still missing a large piece from when the wolf tore it out. told the armorer I wished to buy something, and quickly found an item that caught my interest. An easy-to-use, somewhat heavy, round metal shield. I put it on and ran about a little bit to test its weight, its maneuverability. I could get used to it, though it was a little heavy. And then I decided to go to the harbor, fishing rod in hand, to work on the skill I so desperately wanted to try. I thought I should write in my journal after such an eventful few days, and I promised myself I would. But sitting there, with the cool breeze, the morning light, the wafting waters, it was just so calming. I resolved to let my mind wander as I fished.